All right, it is Nazzy from the Pulse of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Concord Co-op Community Connections, joined as always by the illustrious Greg Lessard from the Concord Co-op. How are you, Greg?
Oh, it's another wonderful Friday, isn't it?
Another wonderful day in the Granite State. We have two outstanding topics today. We're going to start it off with Miss Lorna Tobin. She's a certified transformational breathe facilitator with over 20 years experience, which I don't understand because she only looks 19, teaching this method of healing and recently graduating from NHCI here in Concord with a degree in human services and mindfulness certificate and a substance use disorder certificate. She's going to be teaching mindfulness and breathe work in substance use disorder as she begins her new career. And Lorna has a passion to bring mindfulness to the area and help addicts after experiencing her first mindful-based stress reduction course back in 2015. Welcome, Lorna.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to talk about why it's so very important during this stressful go time during this pandemic, why it is important to be mindful. Why is it so important right now?
Wow. Well, to keep us grounded, and to respond to what's happening in life rather than being reactive.
Right.
And it's something that I've experienced, with people just so caught up in the fear of everything and what's happening, and I completely get it. But what happens when you practice mindfulness and conscious connected breathing is it creates a pause, and it creates the ability to respond to life rather than react from an emotional place. If you break down the word responsibility, response-able. So, that always struck me when I was told that. So, yeah. And, Nazzy, I want to address what you said, that I look 19 years old, and thank you very much. It's really great that you say that, because I'm going to be 56 years old in August.
What?
And yes, and I attribute to my youthful look, and it's one of the benefits of breath work is it reverses the aging process.
Yes. Yes.
All right, now you've got my attention. So go ahead. So
yes, it's true.
What is breath work? Expand on that. So what is the subject matter all about?
Sure. So I will bring up I'm going to bring in COVID a little bit here and address that as well. So when I was diagnosed with COVID in December, okay, and the first symptom that I had with COVID was I woke up at 2 a.m. with a sharp pain in my chest and a really dry cough. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm somebody who has a history of asthma, and which I actually was able to heal through my breathing practice.
Wow.
It surprised me that this is where it settled for me, and it is a respiratory virus. So one of the things that I have a lot of friends who are nurses and in the field of medicine who would say, Lorna, I know a lot about the breath and I respect them very much. But they would tell me to breathe, to lay on my belly. Now, what I know about the breath work, and that is something that they've been doing with patients, and I did read an article about it, that a doctor had a patient that was really struggling to breathe. And what they did is the doctor said, try flipping him on in prone position on his belly. And what it did is it opened up his breathing. Yep. So the muscle that we were given in this life to breathe is our diaphragm. Okay. Now, most people do not use their diaphragm to breathe. Okay. So, gosh, this is such a big topic, and I feel I'm a little scattered. But so what happens? So what happens when somebody when they flip the patient on their belly? What that does is it puts pressure on the diaphragm and activates the diaphragm.
Oh.
To use the diaphragm to breathe. So the diaphragm is a cone-shaped muscle. It's a fibrous tissue that is attached to the rib cage. And when we are breathing correctly, the diaphragm expands with our inhale down into the belly, our belly expands, and as we exhale, the diaphragm relaxes back into the rib cage.
That's, yeah.
What happens for people where they do not use their diaphragm to breathe is emotional stress. So we as humans learn to control our emotions through our breathing. So our breath is our connection to life.
Right.
Breath is the life force. So what we do as humans to disconnect from whatever stresses might be happening in the moment. For example, let's say your boss is all over your case and you can't really express to your boss how you're feeling. Like you might want to say whatever. So what we do is we repress those feelings and those emotions. A great metaphor of what humans do with their emotions is if you take a beach ball and you press a beach ball down in water, what does the beach ball do?
It's going to suck up the water.
No, it's going to seek its own level.
If you push the beach ball down, and what's
going to pop back up?
It pops back up.
Pops back up. That's what I meant. Yeah.
So what we do as humans with our emotions, we hold on to them through muscles in our body, through contracting our breathing, through holding the breath in the belly. You know, think about it and watch it. Next time you get stressed, what you do with your breath. So what that does over time is it restricts our breathing. We start to use different muscles. People tend to breathe very shallow with their chest muscles, or people breathe, you know, their shoulders are way up into their ears. People breathe. That's what that was my breathing pattern, was I always used these muscles to breathe. I had a good belly breath. So I'll use my example in my own personal story and how this happened. So for me as a child, because of circumstances, I made a decision because it wasn't safe for me to shut down my heart, to not express my emotions. So my breathing, we want to utilize our full respiratory system. My breathing was completely shut down in my heart. Mm-hmm. So when I started to breathe and have breath sessions, what happened was I opened up my full respiratory system and I started breathing into my upper respiratory system. And what happened with that is I started breathing in the life force energies of love. My heart started to open. So what happens, and why it's called transformational, is my life started to transform when I opened my breathing in that way, is I started to be open to receiving love. I started to be open to feeling safe about giving love. So I just said a whole lot.
True.
Does that make sense?
And we obviously, we didn't leave enough time for you today. So
we can do a whole segment with Lorna.
I know we're gonna, but in the meantime, what would you suggest to somebody that wants to learn more until we have you back on too?
Sure. Well, quickly, I did my training with Judith Kravitz. She's the co-creator of the Transformational Breath process, and she's the founder of the Transformational Breath Foundation. She's actually in Tilton, New Hampshire.
Oh, she's here.
She wrote a book. Her website is breathe2000.com, the foundation's website. And she wrote a book. It's called Breathe Deep, Laugh Loudly, that you can get on the website. My website is Get Healthy with Lorna. And there is a link there where people, if they, right now with the pandemic, my teacher created an at-home online 10-week program on the discovery. It's called Breath Discovery Camp. And it's about discovering your own breathing and your own breathing process. So
we really could, I'm telling you, Greg, we could do like an hour segment with Lorna.
It's a lot.
There really is. And there's a lot to it too, because I studied martial arts for many years, and martial arts, the foundation of their training, a lot of times we'll spend a good 15, 20 minutes deep breathing, getting the oxygen into our lungs so it goes into our muscles and it pushes out the bad thoughts and brings in the love and brings in the positivity. So there is a lot a lot of information with this. This is great. Lorna,
Well,
thank you so much.
I think you're scheduled to be on the show again in about a month and a half. So we'll chat more then. Thank you so much for coming in today, Lorna.
Have a great day.
Be
You
well,
too now.
Lorna. Be well, be well. Wow, what a great segment. I could have talked to her forever, Greg. I really could. But joining us now, a very familiar face to the show, Miss Sara Woods Kender. How are you, Sara?
Oh, good.
She is a clinical herbalist and Reiki master, over 10 years of experience as an herbal practitioner. She owns Sacred Tree Herbals in Meredith and offers classes on beginning and advanced herbalism, consults custom formulations, and I can never say this word right, shamanic, did I say it right?
Shamanic.
Potato,
you know.
Yeah, I was close. You can check her out at sarasherbs.com. Welcome back, Sara.
Hi, great to be back.
And I know this is radio. There's a lot of people listening on radio right now, but you've got to see Sara is in a room. Let me describe it to you. She's obviously at her shop right now, and she has a wall behind her with jars, probably hundreds and hundreds of different herbs. What's in those jars? I mean, herbs and
dried herbs, roots, barks.
It's just, I feel healthier looking at it. Do you know what I mean?
It's just plant matter. Yep.
It's amazing.
I'm surrounded every day.
So today we have a very, very important subject, and it's also very, very topical. Easy peasy ways to support liver function. So of the herbs that are behind you right now, Sara, what are some of the best herbs that can make our liver healthy?
So it's actually easy peasy ways for kidney support.
Oh.
So get it? Easy peasy. You see what I did there?
I see what you did there. Yep.
So I'm happy to talk about liver too, but the kidneys seem to be the topic that.
Yeah, let's talk about kidneys.
Yeah, let's talk about. I mean, it's an important elimination organ. We do a lot to our kidneys to reduce their ability to function.
Same question. So what herbs are good for your kidneys?
Yeah. So my favorite is nettles. Mm-hmm. The stinging nettle is a leafy green that's often in most herbalists. If you're an herbalist, you have it in your apothecary. And what nettles does, it's highly nutritive. It has a lot of minerals in it. It helps the kidneys filter. So it actually increases the filtration potential of the kidney, which can help clearly, that detox organ, everything from the liver. It's water soluble. The liver sends it down to the kidneys, and the kidneys has to eliminate it. So the nettles will actually just aid the kidneys doing that, which is a nice supportive herb. It's also a food, so it's really safe. Mm-hmm. And I like it for everything from, just basic kidney function to even things like gout. It helps with. So that's one herb out of many. I can go on. Would you like me to?
Well, I've for what can you do that's a proactive thing? What's one of the worst things people do to their kidneys? That's
too much alcohol and like coffee and alcohol. Also, kidney failure is the third or fourth or sixth leading cause of death or something. It's right up there, and a lot of times it's associated with type 2 diabetes. So there's blood sugar issues and stress. Mm-hmm. So those are four things.
All right. So staying with the subject of stress, let's relate it now to what's going on around the world with the pandemic, and people are anxious, and we hear different numbers that come out every day. How is that affecting our kidneys? How does that affect the system that we have inside of our body?
Yeah. So, we're all a functioning machine, and every system is related to the other system. So one direct way that stress affects the kidneys would be through adrenal function. Now, your adrenal glands sit right on top of your kidneys, and they really kind of control that fight or flight, the cortisol in your body, many different functions. If you get nervous or anxious, you get that adrenaline rush. That's from your adrenals. And over time, your kidneys can be stressed because of adrenal stress. So they're kind of these sister organs that work together that way. So if you support your kidneys, you're kind of supporting your adrenal glands too. And then there's other herbs that we can introduce as a complement to direct, kidney support would be your adaptogens like ashwagandha and a bunch of other holy basil that would be a nice blend for someone with stress and kidney issues.
Interesting.
Yeah. And one of my other favorite herbs for the kidneys would be corn silk. Now, oftentimes we think of corn silk, from corn on the cob.
Yeah.
But corn silk is actually a wonderful kidney herb in that it will reduce the kidney inflammation.
Oh.
So a lot of people, if they have recurrent kidney infections, bladder infections, corn silk is a wonderful addition to the kidney blend because it will actually reduce the inflammation and help your kidneys do their job of filtration.
Right.
Yeah.
Now here's a question, and I already know the answer to it. Somebody who's maybe thinking about taking a prescribed medication or natural holistic herbs, why would you recommend they take the natural over the over-the-counter medication to help cure themselves?
Well, it depends on what they're taking the medication for, but many times these kidney drugs, one in particular is called the water pill or hydrochlorothiazide, which is you're basically excreting. Every time you have any liquid in your body, you're just going to excrete it out to help with blood pressure. That can really stress out your kidneys, which is why caffeine is a powerful diuretic, though that can stress out your kidneys more. So the hydrochlorothiazide is a very powerful diuretic. If you can avoid that and use herbs that can support the organ, and of course now we're getting into blood pressure, so there's other herbs for that too. As a complement, we can make a blend, and you can really, depending on what type of blood pressure issues you have, you can really control it in a more natural way, and it won't tax that organ. Does that make sense?
Total sense. I mean, it's, and I did know the answer to that question. I just, maybe somebody was listening right now that needed to hear that.
I think,
it's less stress on your system. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Sara, can you remind listeners where your shop is so they can stop in and ask you for, the information that they received today? They can hear it firsthand from you.
Sure. I'm right downtown Meredith, 48 Main. But I got to tell you that I'm expanding really soon, so I will be moving in the next few months.
We'll have you on again, and you'll give you new location. Yeah, good to know you're expanding, especially in this COVID environment. So good for you.
Congratulations.
There's a lot to say for natural interventions for any virus. Modern medicine, they've been taught to not treat viruses as they have to run their course. And it's funny because when I went to school for herbalism, and we have all these antivirals everywhere, I'm like, oh, I thought you had to just let the virus run its course. No, we have so many wonderful antivirals. So, through this whole thing.
My saying is Mother Nature will provide. And I think that's so very true for especially what you have right there at your fingertips. Mother Nature has put it out there. So it's sarasherbs.com. What's your email, Sara, if we want to get in touch with you?
It's Sara at sarasherbs.com, and just no H in the Sara.
Sara. Sara, thank you for joining us. And once again, we also want to thank Lorna Tobin for joining us as well. And in the last minute, of course, we've got to dedicate it to Greg Lessard and the Concord Co-op. Tell us what's going on there this week, Greg.
They have fish. They have complete meals, prepackaged meals on the hot bar and on the grab and go, and they're constantly expanding it, constantly changing it. All natural foods, and so if people are interested in just having a nice, easy meal to take home, and I would encourage individuals to go to ConcordFoodCoop.coop and look at the membership benefits. Becoming a member of the Concord Food Co-op is $100 one time, fully refundable, and there's a list of benefits, but being a member of the co-op supports this type of show and getting this kind of information out there. We support local farmers, we support a lot of the nonprofits in the community. So being a member of the Concord Food Co-op, there's not only a nice list of benefits, but again, you're a real part of the community as because it's the owners. We have approximately 8,000 owners. So everyone that has a membership or an ownership has an active piece in what the Concord Food Co-op does in the community.
Excellent. Well said, Greg. Thank you so very much. We will chat again next week, right here on the Pulse of New Hampshire.
Thank you, Nazzy. Thank you, Sarah. Bye now.